Before we start, let's review really quickly. What do we do when we do a number talk? How do you let me know that you have an answer or a response? What do we do? Harini.
You show a thumbs up if you have an answer, thumbs sideways if you know how to get there but you don't have the answer, and thumbs down if you don't know where to start.
You're kind of stuck and you don't even know where to begin. What if you have more than one solution? What could you do to show me that you have thought of multiple ways to get to the answer? Samuk.
If you have two ways, you put two, and then three, and then four, five, six.
You show me with your fingers or show me that you have more than one solution. So if I'm already recording or I'm giving you think time and you're like, well, I only have one way, could you just sit there and just stare at the complete wall, or should you be thinking of more strategies? What do you think, Anna?
You should be thinking of more strategies.
Trying to think of more ways to fluidly get to the answer, right? To work with those numbers. All right, get your math brains ready. Here we go. Our first problem. 216 divided by 4. Give everybody a chance to be thinking. Alright, let's hear from Connie.
54.
54, what do we think of 54? Remember, this is I agree, this is I'm not agreeing so much. 54, do we agree? Alright, Connie, let's see how you got there.
Well, I knew that 4 times 5 is 20, and 21 minus 20 is 1, and then you put the 6 down, and 4 times 4 is 16.
So what did you put together for your final quotient?
It was 54.
So this, she took the place of, what is the 20 in the place of? What are you representing?
The 21.
Which is actually what? If I were to think place value, what is that actually representing?
210.
210. So I could think in my head of adding in the 0. So I would think in my head coming in and adding that 0 in. So then we're dealing with 200. So we have 54. So she's breaking those numbers apart and using what she knows that are friendly numbers to divide by 4. Anybody have another strategy? Thank you, Connie. Anybody have another strategy? Let's go with Ethan.
So to get to the 200, I tried 100 times 4, but then I got 400. So I halved that because 400, half of 400 would be 200. So I halved the 100 times 4 to 50 times 4.
So 50, so then you took this to half. So you took 400 to 200? And then go back and tell me from there, 400 to 200.
From 400 to 200, to do that, I did, instead of 100 times 4, I did 50 times 4.
Okay.
Because that's having 100 as well.
Okay.
And so that helped me get, and I knew that 4 times 4 is 16. So I added up 50 and 4. 50 is what I used to get 200, and 4 is what I used to get 16.
And if I come over here and I add 216, what does that give me?
Those two give you 216, the correct answer.
What part of our problem was 216? Do you remember that word?
The dividend.
So this is the dividend, and 4 is your divisor, and this is your
Quotient.
Nicely done. Thank you. Does anybody have another way that you got there? Let's hear from Anushka.
I did the same thing that Connie did, but then to check, I did 4 times 4, which got me to 16.
and then I did 4 times 50, which got me to 200. And then I add those together, and then I got 216, which showed me that I had the right answer.
So she flipped it. She went to multiplication instead of division to check herself.
No, multiplication was easier.
Because multiplication is easier for you. All right, Grace?
I did partial product.
Okay.
I figured out that 4 times 5 is 20, and then it was kind of partial product. And then I figured it out that you would add a 0 to make the 200, and then you would add 1 in place value, so you get 50. And then I knew that 4 times 4 is 16.
Oops.
And then I just added those together, and it got 216. So then I added the 5 and the 4 together, and it got the 50 and 4, and it got 54.
So you got the quotient of 54. So she flipped it as well and broke it apart. Samuk?
I did the traditional algorithm.
Okay, will you walk us through it?
So I put 216, and then I put 4 on the side, and then I saw 4 didn't go into 2, so I wrote 5 on top, and I did 21 minus 20.
Why did you do 20?
Because 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 times 6 is 24. It would be too much. And I got 1, and then I pulled down the 6, and 4 times 4 is 16. And there wasn't a remainder.
So your quotient was 54. So now you see the traditional right alongside the other methods. Let's take one more to close it out. Sean?
I did 9 times 6 to equal 54. Then I did 54 times 4.
9 times 6 is 54.
Then I did 54 times 4.
54 times 4. And what did that give you? 216. And then what was this showing you? How did this help you to solve this problem? Were you using this to check yourself, or were you using it to solve it? Using it to check yourself. So the strategies I saw, who could come up with like a little summary? What were the strategies that we used? Mostly that were used. Anna?
We mostly used partial product because I think that's easiest for us to break the numbers apart because it's easier to see them in our head.
Easier to see them in your head because I didn't give you paper and pencil. So why on earth would I ask you to solve a problem like this in your head and not on paper? How would doing this help you mathematically? How would doing this process help you? Adam?
It'll help us think in our heads so we don't really need pencil and paper.
Will you eventually be using a paper and pencil?
Yeah.
How could you use this to help you solve like a word problem? How would this come in and help you? Let's go. Maddie?
If you know, like in your head, what your multiplication and division facts are, like some people have memorized them, it'll be much easier. You can just do it in your head and you just have to pop down with the answer.
Very good. And if you solve a problem mentally, it gives you a range. Remember we talked about this before? So you know where your answer should be coming. So if you can solve it mentally, then you can check yourself on paper and pencil, and you should already know where your answer should be happening. If I had said my answer should be about 67, would that have been close?
No.
If I had said my answer should be about 1,000, would that have made sense?
No.
Why would 1,000 not make any sense at all? Why would it not make any sense at all, Callan?
Because 1,000 isn't close to 4.
And what's the original operation?
Division.
What does division tell us is happening with numbers? Rena?
It's like breaking down into smaller groups.
Breaking down into smaller groups. So if all of a sudden we get a huge number, we know we have made a mistake. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a neighbor a pat on the back. Good job with your number talks.